Okay, this is S9 review number 1, and we're doing pages 3 and 4. Okay, so Bella throws a ball off the top of a platform, and this is the equation, and x represents the horizontal distance of the ball thrown, y represents the height of the ball. All the distances are measured in meters. The wall lies on the y-axis. The curve intersects the y-axis right here. Right here, and then it has a vertex at B. Okay, write down the height of the meter in meters from the which the ball is thrown. So right here, the ball is thrown when x is 0, so it's going to be 3 meters. When you see the words write down, that means you only have to write down the answer. So how did I get this? I plugged in 0 in for x. If I plug in 0 in for x, then you get 3 meters. Now notice they've written the equation. You might want to rearrange it in the form that you're used to, which is there's our general form with the squared term first and the single x and then the constant term. So calculate the maximum height. So to figure out the maximum height, I can do, I need to figure out the vertex. So I could do the axis of symmetry, which is when at negative b over 2a, and then plug that into my equation. So here's my a is negative 1, b is 4, and c is 3. So I can plug in this to get the axis of symmetry. So I would have negative 4 times 2 over negative 1, which simplifies to 2. And I can plug that into my equation, and I get y equals 3 plus 4 times 2 minus 2 squared. And so we're trying to calculate this maximum height, which gives me y equals 3 plus 8 minus 4, which simplifies to 7. Okay. And another way I could have done this to figure out the vertex, so so you can hit y equals, and then you can type in your equation. Okay, and if I want to figure out the vertex, I can go, or if I want to figure out the vertex, which is in this case it's the maximum, right? So I can hit second and trace in order to calculate things. And if I'm trying to find the maximum, I hit 4 for maximum. And then it says left bound. I need to get to the left bound of this hill. So I'm going to go to the left side here, and notice I'm on the left side of the hill. I hit enter. Now it says right bound. I have to hit the right arrow to get to the right side of the hill. I hit enter, and now it says guess. You just hit enter again, and it tells me my maximum is 2, 7. Okay, and so that's another way to do this. Okay, find the horizontal distance from the base of the wall to the point at which it touches the ground. So here's where it touches the ground, and here is the base of the wall. And we want to figure out this distance, the horizontal distance from the base of the wall to where it touches the ground. Okay, so so from this equation, I want to figure out this 0 right here when this is 0, where my pen is pointing. So I'm going to have to do second trace. I'm going to go down to 0 for number 2. Enter. And so notice it says left bound. So I need to go to the left of this dot where I'm pointing. I need to go to the left. So notice my thing is blinking to the left. I hit enter. Now it says right bound. I need to go to the right of this dot right here. So I'm going to hit arrow to the right, and notice I'm to the right of it. I hit enter. It says guess. I hit enter, and my answer is 4.65 meters from here to here. Okay, here are the calculator steps I just mentioned. You may want to copy this down for finding the zeros. Okay. Next. The quadratic function is given with this equation, and the points 0, 8, -8, and 3, -8 are on the graph. So these have the same y value, and 0, -8, and over here I'm at 3, -8. So they're in the same y value, and that means they're going to be an equal distance away from each other. So from the parabola. So if that's the case, then my axis of symmetry is going to be an equal distance away from them, since they are both on the same y-axis here, a y value here. So what's halfway between 0 and 3? Well, I can add those together. 0 plus 3 divided by 2, and I get 1.5. So my axis of symmetry is x equals 1.5. That's my axis of symmetry. Okay, write down the value of c. Okay, so c you can figure out when x is 0. So if I plug in 0 in for x, I'm going to get, if I plug in 0 in for x, I'm going to get 0 squared plus 0 plus c. And so when x is 0, the y value here is -8. So I'm going to say replace this here with -8. And so c equals -8. Okay, so now the y-coordinate of the minimum graph is -12.5. So basically, the y-coordinate of the minimum, so this is a minimum down here, and this y-coordinate is -12.5. So the x value is, we know that this is at 1.5, and so the y part of that is -12.5. And so now I've got 3 dots, and I can use that, my calculator, to to get the I'll show the calculator steps in just a second, but I want you to see what we're doing here. Okay, so we've got the 3 dots, 0, -8, 3, -8, and 1.5, -12.5. Okay, so I'll give you the steps here to copy down in just a minute, but we can hit Stat, and where it says Edit, we hit Enter, and then we enter our points. So 0, 3, 1.5, -8, -8, 12.5. Okay, so I've entered all these things in, so then I hit Stat again, arrow over to Calc, and go down to quadratic regression. I hit Enter, and then you hit Enter, and then you get your A value, your B value, and your C value. So y is equal to 2x squared minus 6x minus 8. Okay, so here are the steps. You might want to hit pause to copy this down. Okay. Next. Oh. What's happened here? Okay. Okay, I made a mistake with this graph. This line shouldn't be here. It crosses it over here. Sorry, the y-axis should be over here. Okay, now they've told you on this graph one of the x-intercepts is 4, 0, and the x-coordinate of the maximum is 1. So here's my maximum, and the x part of the coordinate is 1. So my axis of symmetry is x equals 1. Okay, and so if I've got a point, the x-intercept at 4, 0, this one here is going to have to be 4, 0, because it's higher than 1. Okay, so what's the distance between 1 and 4? And this distance is going to be 3 units. So I'm going to need to go 3 units this way. So 3 minus 1 is going to be here at -2, right? Because from -2 over this way is going to be 3 units. Okay. So now I know that, and we want to write our function in this form. And notice how the a value, we already know a is -1. So, and we've got our x-intercepts. So once we have our x-intercepts, we're going to use our x-intercept formula, which is y equals a times x minus p times x minus q, since we have our x-intercepts. So y equals a times, we know a is -1, right? So let's just put negative here. And we know the p value is -2, so we have x plus 2. And the q value is 4, so I'm going to have x minus 4. And so now I've got y equals negative, and let's FOIL this out. So x times x gives me x squared. X times -4 is -4x. 2 times x gives me 2x. And 2 times -4 is -8. So combine the like terms, and we get okay, and then we do distributive property with that negative sign. Y equals -x squared plus 2x plus 8. So the b value, b is equal to 2. And then the c value is this right here, and c equals 8. Okay, now find the domain of this function. So the domain of this function is this. So we need to figure out the range. So from high to low, from 0 to 6. So at 0, it's up here somewhere. 6 is down here somewhere. So we need to figure out the function when x equals 1, and we also need to figure it out when x equals 6, because when x equals 1, I'm up here at the maximum, and when x equals 6, I'm at the bottom. So what I'm going to do, so if I plug in 1 into my function, I end up with getting 9. If I plug in 6 into my function, I end up getting negative 16. So the top of my graph is 1, 9, and the bottom of the graph is 6, negative 16. You might want to hit pause to think about this. So now I can get my range. Our lowest value of the range is negative 16. The highest value of the range is 9. So there is my range from negative 16 to 9. Okay. Last question. Find the points of intersection. So you're going to need to make the two equations equal to each other. And then if I want to solve this, I'm going to subtract x squared on both sides to make that go away. And then I'm going to add 3x to both sides to make that go away. So if I've subtracted x squared, I get 3x squared minus x squared, which gives me 2x squared. Negative 5x plus 3x is going to give me negative 2x minus 24. Okay, then I see, oh, okay, everything's divisible by 2. So I'm going to factor out the 2. And then I think, okay, what two things multiply to give me 12 and subtract to give me 1? Well, it's going to be 3 times 4. All right, so now I know one of my factors is negative 3, and the other factor is 4. So I'm going to plug in negative 3 into one of my equations. So if I use this equation here, using this equation here, I'm going to plug in negative 3. I get negative 3 squared minus 3 times negative 3, and then I end up with 18. If I plug in 4 into this equation, I end up with 4 squared minus 3 times 4, which is going to give me 16 minus 12. I end up with a y value of 4. Okay, I'll do the next on 2 pages on a separate video.